Chasiv Yar, a trick of winter light, and it can look a peaceful place, but it lies just west of Bakhmut. Scene of such intense and incremental fighting in recent weeks. It's loud here, but the people waiting in line for aid that comes just once a month hardly notice. 73-year-old Alexander, no exception.
Are you used to it now?
Да,
Why do you stay?
пока не прячемся.
There are isolated cases of hits, he says, but we do not hide. As the one-year anniversary of the Russian invasion approaches, there is growing debate here about the burden civilians staying on in towns near the front puts on emergency workers and the army. Orihiv, another town along a different front to the south. A shadow of its former self. Russian troops stationed just a few kilometers away have been shelling the town for nearly a year. Even the mayor has left, but his deputy, Svetlana Mandrich, remains, working out of an underground bunker, helped by volunteers and some canine companionship. There is no mandatory evacuation here, she tells us, so we can only encourage people to leave by telling them it's dangerous. There are about 1,900 civilians still in town, all without electricity or running water, relying on emergency services to fill tanks when they can. If they're shelling, it's hard to help the wounded, says Fire Chief Andrei Ryorenko. They have to rely on the military. On the other hand, he says, many older people have nowhere to go. And some have already been pushed out of their original homes as the front line shifts, like Natalia Kotyankova. What should we do now, she asks. Leave? I'm sorry I'm making everyone's work harder. Others, like Alexander, don't want to give in to Russia.
Putin пускай прячется.
Putin can go hide, he says.
So, Margaret, thinking about the geography, Chasiv Yar is a stone's throw from Bakhmut. Orihiv in the south, it's similar, under fire for months now. As this anniversary approaches, what's your sense of what keeps people going? What are they feeling now?
Sadly, Adrienne, I think that they're feeling that they have no choice but to keep going. You really do get the sense that even now, a year in, this is just starting to settle in, people are starting to realize this is for real, it's going on, and they don't actually have an option. There is a lot of concern. We met one man in Chasiv Yar who told us he's not sure that the Ukrainians can actually beat the Russians if Western aid, in particular, he mentioned the Americans, don't start getting that military aid in faster. One of the other things that you notice there, of course, is that people have become used to the booms all around them. They're not automatically jumping or running for cover at the same time. They talk about their nights and the sound of missiles going overhead and how far that makes them feel from the people who have left. So there's that division too, partly one that we saw in our piece between people who say, look, you're putting the soldiers and the emergency workers under burden, and the people who say, listen, we built these homes with our own hands, we're not leaving. If we do, what replaces us?
All right, Margaret Evans, thank you.